Alright, so I wanted to do an update on our landscaping that we did this past fall. It's been about 7 or 8 months, and it's grown in really nice, so I kind of want to show you what it looks like. I've had a few people ask how the grass has grown and all that, so that's why I'm doing this video. Alright, so first of all, we had the driveway put in as well, and along the sides we had to plant a bunch of grass, and that come in really nice. You can't tell anything had ever changed there. Same thing over here, right along the edge. It's all new grass, and come out really nice. Okay, so then the one section I was really worried about was right around all of the gravel pavers, concrete pavers, because I put in a whole section of gravel right here underneath. It was our old lava rock, and then I think I put some regular gravel on top, and then dirt, and then I laid in the pavers, and then I just threw in some grass seed, and it actually turned out exactly like I wanted. I mean, I couldn't be happier with this. It turned out perfect, and it is still growing. I was a little afraid that the grass wouldn't be able to hold water, you know, that it would just drain down to my gravel underneath and, you know, look dead, but it's popping in fine. It looks really, really nice. And the pavers are really nice and sturdy. They don't wobble, or none of them have sunk yet. I'm sure eventually they probably will a little bit, but right now they're all really nice and even. It turned out really awesome. Alright, as for the gravel, of course, after a bunch of rain and snow, it's washed off. It's not so dusty anymore. The one issue, I mean, it's going to happen when you have gravel, but stuff sticks in it, and it's a little hard to clean. I've been using my leaf blower, like in the fall when all the leaves fell, and that helped a bunch. It did gather a bunch right here in that corner, and then the opposite corner of the porch there, but I was able to clean it out. Okay, the other thing is that this spring, the what is it, oak trees that have the little, you know, these little helicopter seeds or whatever. I mean, this thing was loaded, and it just sticks into all the little nooks and crannies. You can still kind of see them in there a little bit, but it's cleaned up pretty well. But at the same time, I mean, it is gravel. It's going to happen. I just lived with it. No big deal. The aluminum edging here, a lot of people have asked where I got it. I picked it up at Home Depot, but it was off of their website. I don't know if they carried it in the stores now, but when we ordered, they did not have it in the store. And it was aluminum landscape edging. I don't remember the name right now, but it's held up really nice. One thing I kind of wish I had done a little better, you can see how it's a little wavy up front. That was the very first run we did. Probably should have started in the back, got a little practice with it. But once we got towards the side and the back, we were able to get it, I mean, just about dead straight. That front one here is a little wobbly, but that's okay. The other thing is that our little tubs here, I think in the video I showed you, I cut holes in the bottom so that the dirt and the water could go straight to the ground. My idea was hoping that the plants would be able to suck moisture from the ground so we wouldn't have to water them as often. And I think it's going to work. Whenever I did my last videos on the landscape, we just put in some mums because it was fall and we just wanted something as a placeholder. But now that they died off and they look terrible over the winter, just a couple days ago we planted in this new taller grass here, and you can see it's gonna grow these little, I'm not even sure what they are, but they're gonna pop up, and I think it'll get about 3 feet tall or something like that, which is about what we wanted. I don't know if you can see, but the neighbors has some grass over there. We're kind of going for that tall grass look over there, but anyway, it should look pretty nice, and it's really low maintenance. Another thing is we are terrible with plants, and when we put some in, when we first bought the house, we had no idea what we were doing. We didn't look at tags or anything like that, and once I bought these, I realized this side of the house gets a lot of sun for about half the day. You can kind of see the shadow line now starting to disappear a little bit, so I made sure to buy grass that needed a lot of sun and didn't need a lot of watering, and I think these are going to work out really well. They're growing really nice so far. Alright, the step has held up really well. The only thing I'm not super crazy about is that the space in here has still gathered leaves. It's a little hard to clean out. The reason I did that was, the reason I left the gap was so that when it's time to add clear coat, I can actually get my hand in there, but it did suck up leaves. There's the neighbor's dog Bullet. He likes to come hang out when I'm outside. But otherwise, it's held up really nicely. Alright, the porch, you can kind of see how it's going. It seems like it's kind of fading a little bit. I think maybe I need to re-clear coat it again. You can also see it's not a perfect match for our siding, so what I'm actually going to do on the siding of the house is I'm going to restain it to make it look like this would. If you just saw our cable railing in the back of our house, I used homemade wood stain, and it matched this wood really nice. So I think I'm actually going to restain that with homemade wood stain and re-clear coat the whole thing. Also up here on the top, it's That's just natural redwood up there, and you can see how much lighter it is than the rest of the wood. So I'm going to restain it here pretty soon, get that done. Alright, so the stone worked out really nice as an extra step. One more thing I want to point out. When I threw grass seed, this is all new grass right here. And you can kind of see the line, like right about there. You can kind of see this is like a lot of clover, and then here's mostly just grass. Same thing with over there. There's kind of a line right here. But when I use the old dirt, some of the old grass is popping back up, so it looks pretty nice. Okay, so anyway, when I threw grass seed, some of it did get into the gravel, and if you look just right, you can see it's starting to grow up here in the gravel, but it's pretty easy to pull out. So whenever I notice it popping up, I just pull it out. No big deal. Another thing I kind of wish I would have done is raised my aluminum edging just a little bit. It's pretty good height right here for like weed eating, but then in other spots it's pretty low, so when the grass gets kind of tall you can't really see it. But I mean, it's really there just as a barrier, but it's kind of nice to look at it. Alright, so you can see right here, once we got a little practice, you can see that our corner is a lot nicer and straighter, and that turned out pretty awesome. Okay, over here on this side we had a few issues that we had to take care of this week. Alright, so the grass right here, and then the second one down that way is the original, I don't even know what it's called, but we put in here, and it started growing back up this spring. It looks pretty nice. We just went through and pulled out all the dead leaves, or I don't know, dead little spikes off of it, and it's growing in really nice. But the first one, the middle one, and the last one here, we put in some taller grass. See, this is more splayed out. It's a two-tone, I don't even know what you call it. But for the other three spots, it was a grass similar to that, but it needed a lot of daylight, and we didn't know that when we bought it. We just grabbed something real quick and threw it in. But as you can see, this side, I mean, it is basically high noon right now, and this side does not really get sunlight. It is always in the shade, even though it gets a lot of ambient light, I guess you could say. It never gets direct sunlight. So what we did is we bought these three plants here to replace the others, and I bought some that are always supposed to be in the shade and that don't need a lot of water, because I really hate taking care of plants. We just wanted something here to look pretty good, but I don't want to sit here and weed it every 2 months and do watering all the time. So we'll get it settled in, its roots take hold, and then hopefully it'll just keep growing. I think these will get a little bushy, maybe about 2 feet in diameter, 2 feet tall, something like that. So it should look pretty good. Here's the infamous bird. Lots of people hate it for some reason, but it's not even my favorite thing, but it's just something I welded up in college and just had it ever since, so we just do it there as a placeholder. Alright, so here's another thing. We thought that we'd have a little fun, so of course the front of the house we kept, kind of business and serious and all that, but out back we wanted to have a little fun, so you can kind of see what's happening here. We flamingoed the back. It's a little flamingo garden, so it's a business up front and party out back. And instead of putting plants back here, we just did these, and it's a little tacky, but that's kind of the idea, is just to have a little fun with it. And it actually is surprisingly easy to clean. I mean, you can walk in between them with a leaf blower and get rid of leaves and those little helicopter seed things. And right here is all new grass as well, and it grew in really nice. The one spot I'm having a problem with is this right along the edging here. It's just not growing grass very well, but it's okay. But before it was just it was a really weird dead garden back here. It had lava rock, and it was, I don't know, it was just way overgrown and terrible looking when we first bought the place, but it's a lot better now. And of course, you don't have to do anything with these, just look at them, and neighbors, sometimes you see them drive by and then they stop and then they're looking down here and trying to figure out what's going on. And anyway, we like it. We just kept it straight with the little concrete pad for the air conditioning units, and just went straight across just to keep it really nice and simple. The gutter here is not the best, but it'll do for now. We're eventually going to redo the roof and guttering and all that because they leak anyway, so we'll redo that, but for now it's good enough for now. Alright, and then there is the railing I just did, and it's holding up really nice too. It's already got bird poop on it, so the birds like it, and it looks really nice. So the only thing we really got left to do is this back patio back here. It's cracked and sunk, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to take care of it, but otherwise the landscaping is good to go. It should be really nice and low maintenance. All these plants now don't need a lot of water, they don't need a lot of sun, so they should be growing really nicely. And then of course in the front, These I have to keep watering so that they take root, but eventually, hopefully they'll start sucking water through the hole in the bottom of this bucket from the ground, and we won't have to take care of them as much either. So anyway, it turned out pretty awesome. Pretty soon I'm going to start adding the stain to the wood to make it all match. But other than that, we're pretty much done with the outside except for that patio. And here's the driveway again. It turned out really nice. I know I've had a few people say that the installation was a little questionable, and I agree with it, but so far it's held up really nice, and we've been able to park and have no issues with it at all. So anyway, there you go. I thought I'd do an update. I've had several people ask about how it's held up and how the grass has come in, and it turned out really nice, so we couldn't be happier with it.